Hi guys, it's Family Focus Friday, the end of half-term week, which has been great. I hope you've had an amazing time with family and you've managed to have fun with each other and experience lots of experiences together. Today's video is about teenagers, sex and relationships. As I said, I was going to do one after last week's Week of Love. I thought I'd put one out this week. I can't cover everything about that obviously in this video, but there's just a few thoughts that's come to my mind. So really, I don't think as a community, as a society, we're very good at talking to our teenagers about sex anyway, and about relationships really effectively. That is a generalization, because obviously there'll be some people that are amazing at it and others that are not quite comfortable with the process. So it made me really think that actually the things that you would want to teach a person who's on the spectrum, or talk to them or support them through, are most likely just the same things that you'd support any teenager through. Same outcome, different approach. But I just wanted to bring a few things to the surface. So your teenager, your child becoming a teenager, may have have varied responses to the whole idea of connecting to somebody else on an emotional level. Some people will be very ready, very ready and very happy to do so, and so they will be going out and, you know, like teenagers do, trying to connect with people, but there may be social barriers. So I think at that time you should be looking for signs of frustration and how they're managing that frustration really. How are they managing the frustration of not being able to connect to the people that they like? Then you might have a child or a teenager on the spectrum who is not interested in relationships yet, not interested in having that type of intimacy with another person at this point, which again is amazingly fine. But you might want to be talking to them about teenagers and the fact that other people around them may actually want to connect with them, that may want to have a relationship, have a bit more of an in-depth relationship with them. So how will they manage sharing that that's not what they want? Now, I know that sometimes there's some people on the spectrum who can be blunt and they'll just be able to say it, but there's some people on the spectrum who will be finding it very difficult to find the words and to share how they feel about that. So I think we need to be really conscious about the emotional state of a teenager on the spectrum who is thinking about or not yet wanting an emotional relationship with another person. I think the next thing to think about really is their personal safety and their respect of other people's. And I think sometimes, because we have all of our social rules and most people have understood the social rules, sometimes this can be lost on some people on the spectrum, and we can't ignore that. And so we have to make sure that our young people that are on the spectrum are aware of their own social rules and how they want to be treated, and that they are, you know, they know how to say no to a feeling that's not right for them. And so we really have to strengthen the voice of our children on the spectrum, especially our teenagers on the spectrum. If they are not yet ready for a relationship, or they are ready for a relationship, what parts of a relationship are they ready for? And strengthen their voice, give them a script, you know, let them be really clear about what it is they want. Also, we have to teach children on the spectrum, some children on the spectrum, that other people have their own boundaries, and that even though you may want a relationship with them, they might not want a relationship with you. And, you know, you've got to respect that, and you've got to respect the boundaries around that. And I know as parents we would naturally do this anyway, but we have to find the right approaches for somebody on the spectrum, because sometimes very literal, can take things out of context, may not understand the emotions of another person. So we have to be really clear about how we support them in their relationship building. So that's one of the key things I think that we should be teaching children from a very young age really: personal safety and respect of other people's. So all of this though has to be wrapped up in the idea of maturity and readiness. Again, like any child on the spectrum or not on the spectrum, we have to know that a child is ready and mature enough for the conversations that need to happen around sex and relationships. We have to really be clear around what we've talked about before, boundaries, also the mechanics. We might have to be really clear about it all, but also about safety, in terms of practice. I think parenting a child on the spectrum is a whole lot harder in the sense that sometimes you've just got to approach the situations and the conversations you would naturally see, naturally approach differently. Sometimes I remember my conversations as a teenager. It was sometimes done more with nuance and not so direct. And that's fine for somebody who's neurotypical. However, somebody who is neurodiverse needs a different approach. And that means as parents, you have to get a different approach. And sometimes that means getting past your own embarrassment and trying to move past the information you were shared and be factual and have clarity, but not to forget the emotion of it. So those are my few tips around sex, relationships and teenagers on the spectrum, and what that might mean for you as a family. Just a few things to think about if you are thinking about having that conversation. So guys, enjoy conversations with your teenagers this weekend if you think it's needed, and have an amazing one before they start back school on Monday. How quick has this week gone? However, have an amazing one. Take care. Bye bye.